Today we've got round 2 of the college football playoff as we narrow the list of teams who can win the national championship down from 8 to 4. We'll watch all 4 quarterfinal games in full. We'll continue to see which prospects catch our eye for the Browns franchise on Madden 26. I appreciate everyone's patience with the Browns series. I know it's been like a week since the last episode, but this is just how it's been the easiest way to schedule it. The next Browns episode should be up within the next couple of days as we wrap up the regular season and the final prospect profile of the year. So last time around here, we went through the 4 first-round games, and we had some pretty exciting storylines and results. We'll quickly spark note the 4 games. Notre Dame mopped the floor with South Florida 45-14, and the most interesting storyline in this game was the kicker. Cesar Vasquez made 8 field goals for Notre Dame, breaking the all-time FBS record for field goals in a game. Not a playoff game, a game period. It was a running back rotation for Notre Dame. Their star, Amari Blue, didn't really play after the second quarter. It'll be interesting to see his usage against Miami. LSU wins a close one against Penn State. They were down by 6 going into the 4th, but the experience of the veteran senior Hopi Reynolds was enough to lead them over the true freshman Bugs Vitelli. Clemson defeats Texas at home. Bryce Carver, the Texas quarterback, I thought honestly played pretty well. I don't think the numbers do him justice. Completed less than 60% of his throws through 2 interceptions. I kind of think his receivers failed him, and the Clemson defense was phenomenal. Nick Eberle was lighting up the Longhorns in the first half, although he did kind of slow down after that. But you could still argue that he did outplay Carver in this game, setting Clemson up with an ACC Championship rematch against SMU, who they just beat in the conference title game. And then Arizona State USC. The lights were a little bit too bright for Arizona State quarterback Ezekiel Pantaleon, who was picked off 3 times. USC started the game off slow over the first quarter and a half, but then they really got rolling after that. They will play against the reigning champion Texas Tech Red Raiders. So Notre Dame, Miami, LSU, Georgia, the Hopi Reynolds Bowl, Clemson, SMU, and USC, Texas Tech are the 4 matchups today. All very interesting in their own way. In terms of removing context, which game of this group might be the best? You could argue that would be Notre Dame and Miami, but that's actually the game we are going to start with today at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Number 5, Notre Dame. Number 4, Miami. Couple of, I guess, arguably blue bloods, depending on who you ask. Couple of the biggest brands in college football. We'll start with the Irish, 12-1. They were a little shaky early in the year. They barely beat Baylor in week 0. They lost to Georgia Tech in week 5. Georgia Tech went 3-9 this year. You know who else lost 1 game last year, that being to Georgia Tech? That would be Texas Tech, who ended up winning the national championship. So we'll see if we get deja vu here with the Irish, who have an impressive resume after that. They blew out Clemson, who's obviously proven to be a very formidable team. They beat USC on the road to lock their spot into the playoff, and then they dismantled South Florida, a team who won a playoff game last year on the road in Knoxville, Tennessee. So clearly South Florida is not some slouch, but Notre Dame made them look like one. The Irish, of course, led by senior quarterback Maxwell Logan, who had a really efficient game against USF. My question for Notre Dame is what the run game is going to look like. We know they have probably the most talented back in the country with Amari Blue, but they didn't really use him after the second quarter against South Florida. Was that by design, or is he a little banged up? Jaden Williams and Keelan Ringo are certainly able to hold down the fort if necessary. Notre Dame doesn't really have an alpha receiver, but they've got a good group with Christian Session, Go-Go Hilans, who caught 10 passes against South Florida, Paxton Wallingford, Tremaine Sims, really solid offensive line, and a very, very good defense who stopped a loaded South Florida offense to just 14 points. South Florida had 2 long touchdowns, but otherwise their offense did nothing the whole game. As for Miami, number 4, 11-1, they to me are quite interesting. They comfortably lead college football in terms of point differential, so you can easily make the case that they have been the best overall team in the country this year. We played against 4 playoff teams this year, and of those 4, I thought Miami was pretty clearly the best of that group in the games that we played. They beat us convincingly at home, 27-10. Against Texas Tech on the road, we had the lead with 10 seconds left. Against Clemson on the road, they needed double overtime to knock us off. And then SMU on the road, yeah, they won by 24, but the game was tied after 3 quarters before they were able to pour it on late. The Miami game was at home, and they still had control the entire way. Now, the thing with this Miami team is they don't really have any resume wins. They've only played against one great team, Clemson, who they lost to. I guess Louisville is their resume win. Their combined opponent record is 80-71. That's not very impressive. They really haven't beaten anyone good this year. So are they beating up on everyone because their schedule is easy? They also haven't played in over a month. We talked about this storyline earlier in the year, but Miami last played in Week 13. They had a bye week during the final week of the regular season. Didn't play in Army-Navy week. Didn't play in the conference championship. Didn't play in the first week of bowls. It's been 5.5 weeks since they've last played a football game. Will that be a good thing or will it be a bad thing? Because on one hand, it could mean that they're super well rested, they're super fresh, they're super ready to go. But they also might be rusty, and if they start slow, that could be a problem against a team like Notre Dame, who plays really well when they're ahead and can really run the ball. Graham Glikowski, an experienced starter, returning for the Canes. He, of course, was their guy in the playoff last year when they lost to Ohio State in a close, low-scoring game. The big difference between last year's Miami team and this year's is this year's group is a lot worse at running the ball. So Micah Robinson and Nathan Wilson, both drafted in the second round by the Chiefs and Eagles, respectively. Now the running back room is very young. Moses Ballon, the senior, is hurt, so it'll be a bunch of true freshmen carrying the load. The rest of this roster, though, is unbelievably stacked. On paper, they might be the best team in the country. Joshua Finney is a baller. Marquise Maryland, the only 99 overall player in the entire country. Their offensive line is head and shoulders better than anybody in college football. They've got so many great players here. Jeshire Hope at guard might go in the first round. He's really good. At left tackle, Caleb Smolko. He might be the number 1 overall pick, at the very least in the top 5. One of the best prospects in the country. Zach Rawlings is going to get drafted. Maurice Shiroga is probably going to go in the first round, the transfer from Georgia. And then this defense is just littered with talent. James Joseph, Akeem Boger. Boger won't play. That's a big loss. And then in the secondary, guys like Ahmad Lacey, Cam Irving, Kwabena Kamalu, Matt Jordan. I mean, it is a loaded roster. So if the quarterback play can be good enough and the run game can be efficient, this Miami team can beat anybody. In my bracket, I had them making it all the way to the national championship, so I do believe the roster talent of this team can win them some playoff games, even if they are missing some star power, arguably, on offense. And the quarterback play being a little spotty this year, although I do think Glikowski has improved from last year to this year. And then with Notre Dame, they've got to continue to utilize Amari Blue. What will his status be for this game? That's a big question mark. Notre Dame has the better resume, but Miami's been more dominant through the course of the year, so it'll be interesting to see which side ultimately prevails. Quick throw is caught. The freshman running back, Devon Berry Jr., to around the 35, as Caleb Smolko is hurt. That is the last guy Miami can afford to lose. The All-American left tackle in the conversation to be the number 1 pick, certainly the top non-quarterback off the board. Berry gets it again. Berry with a juke move. Spins his way near the 20. KG Grouch is the main running back, but Devon Berry Jr., very solid change of pace guy, a native of Miami. Joshua Finney in motion. Glikowski is sacked by Anthony Donnerson. Nice play there by the Notre Dame defense. That was a second and short, now making it a third and longer. Third and about 7 for the Canes. Glikowski, the redshirt junior, under some pressure. His pass is broken away. He was trying to get it to Marquise Maryland, but Notre Dame makes the play. That'll bring out the field goal unit. Stephen Wagner on to kick for Miami. It is up and through. The first points of the game, a Miami field goal. They lead at 3-0, and we take our first look at the Notre Dame offense, who scored on 11 of 12 drives against South Florida, including 8 field goals. Logan overthrows his target. He was looking for Baxton Wallingford. Notre Dame punts it. Miami with it. 3 to go in the first. Glikowski rolls to the right side on the run. He's got some wheels. And Glikowski gets the first down past the 50. I didn't know he could run like that, but apparently he can. On second and medium, Glikowski looks to throw it. His pass wide open. It's caught by Joshua Finney inside the 20. Finney, a projected top 100 pick I think he's the best pro prospect of Miami's skill position players pretty comfortably. Third down, passes low for Finney, who was wide open, but Glikowski's pass is off. Wagner on for his second field goal of the game, looking to make it a 6-0 lead for the Canes. Kick is up and good. So Miami adds to the lead late in the first quarter. We really haven't seen a whole lot of this Notre Dame offense just yet. It was the opposite in the first round game. Notre Dame had it for 80% of the first half. Blue with a juke, Blue with another, and he gets it to around the 30. Notre Dame's got to be able to utilize this kid. He's the best running back in the country. 200 yards in the playoff against Ole Miss last year. As Blue switches sides in the backfield, he gets it again. Blue up the middle, breaking tackles, gets another first down. He can win in so many different ways, whether it's in space, like that first run, or between the tackles, like we just saw there. 6-0 lead for the Canes. Notre Dame starting to get the ground game going with Amari Blue. They haven't really thrown the ball well yet. They've only had it for 2 minutes. They had it for 80% of the first half against South Florida. Today, they've been on defense for 80% of the game. But they do have it here. They're moving it pretty well so far. 3rd and 6 inside the 30. Logan looks to throw it, scrambles around under pressure, and he throws it away. Good job by the Miami defense not letting him get any room there. That was Darryl Ramsor with the pressure, the freshman. And it's Cesar Vasquez on to kick from 44. It is good. And the record-breaking kicker puts Notre Dame on the board at 6-3. His 9th made field goal of the playoff. Miami gets it back. Here's KG Grouch with plenty of room. Past the 45, the true freshman back, making the play for the Canes. Glikowski looks to throw it. Into coverage, it's picked off. Tobias Ellerby's got it for Notre Dame. Ellerby seems to make the big plays in the big game. His 3rd career playoff pick. He had one against Josh Scarborough in South Florida. He also had one last year against Zarius Stone and Ole Miss. The tides of this game are starting to shift a little bit. Notre Dame's got to take advantage of the takeaway. On 3rd down, Logan's pass is broken up. Looking for the big target, Wallingford. But Miami gets the stop, remains 6-3. Glikowski is picked again. Colby Brownlee has it this time for Notre Dame. Back-to-back interceptions thrown by Glikowski. And the Notre Dame defense is keeping him in the game with some red zone stops early and now some takeaways here in the second quarter. The Irish really have to take advantage of this. Amari Blue with a nice first down run past the 20. We're seeing the quick speed, quick acceleration with him as Cam Irving is hurt. 3rd and 1, Notre Dame does not get the QB sneak, and they are going to kick the field goal. Hilariously on brand. Live by the kick, die by the kick. Cesar Vasquez is 2 for 2. The game is tied. That is an extremely weak call, though. I think that goes without saying. I mean, kicking a field goal on 4th and inches in the playoff, that is pathetic. Here's Miami. It's Marquise Maryland. Past the 45. A nice maneuver by Maryland. He's not the biggest guy, only around 5'8", maybe 5'9" on a good day. As the Canes have a 3rd down and inches. Game tied at 6. No touchdowns yet. With Augusto Duarte, the tight end, in motion. Here is Glikowski looking towards the sideline. It's hauled in again by Marquise Maryland, who moves the chains for the Canes. Up the middle. It's Berry with a juke move. Devon Berry Jr. to the 5. Notre Dame is the ones calling their timeouts, interestingly. They want to get that ball back. On 3rd and goal, Glikowski for the end zone. No! With no flag, interestingly. There was a lot of contact in the secondary. Miami will not get the call. Here is Wagner. He's 3 for 3, and it is now 6-9. Nice, in favor of Miami. Still no touchdowns. Notre Dame looking to change that. Logan on 1st down, surveys the field. He's picked off! Wow, that is a huge takeaway. It's Cam Irving, who got dinged up on the previous possession, coming down with the pick. The redshirt senior makes the play for Miami. They will get it with excellent field position. We'll see if they're more successful than Notre Dame in terms of capitalizing on the turnover. It's going to be a run up the middle. KG Grouch to about the 2. And Miami is inching closer and closer to the end zone. They've still got a timeout in their back pocket in case they need it. 1st and goal. Grouch again. He's in. Touchdown, Miami. The first touchdown of the game took us nearly the entire first half. But the big interception by Cam Irving leads to a major shift in momentum. It felt like Notre Dame was right there. Now they've got a 10-point deficit to claw back from. 3rd down and 3 here at the end of the half. Logan under pressure, doesn't seem to know what to do. Logan tries to escape, and he cannot. Another big play by the Miami defense. It's James Montero with the sack, and that will wrap up the first half. The Canes lead at 16-6. Notre Dame's offense scored 45 a week ago. They look a whole lot worse so far today. It has not been their start. The Irish only have 114 yards of offense. They've been dominated in terms of time of possession, and Max Logan is really struggling. 7 of 16, 73 yards and a pick. Glikowski, meanwhile, 16 of 25, 165 yards and 2 interceptions himself. I think the big difference is that Miami's really trying to run the ball effectively, and they are. 8 carries, 51 yards for Grouch, 4 for 35 for Berry. For Notre Dame, Amari Blue's playing well, but he's only gotten the ball 5 times. That one is caught by Tremaine Sims to start the third. Breaks a tackle down the field! Past the 20, the 15, the 10. What a start to the third quarter for Notre Dame. Boy, did they need a spark. How about a 63-yarder from the senior tight end, bringing Notre Dame into the red zone. Logan on 3rd and 10 has a clean pocket. He's going to just dish it off for Sims, who cannot hold on. It kind of feels like a disappointment that Notre Dame only got a field goal here with the 63-yarder to start the third. They kind of needed to get a touchdown, but at the very least, they do make it a one-score game, as Cesar Vasquez's kick is good, and it's 16-9. Glikowski on 1st down. Miami starting with it pretty quickly in the third. Wants it all down the field inside the 20. Otis Gaffney comes down with it for Miami. Maybe not the biggest name in this receiving room. Not the prospect that Joshua Finney or Marquise Maryland is, but Otis Gaffney is a very good player in his own right. 2nd and 15. Notre Dame in the backfield with the sack, trying to maybe get Miami out of field goal range, as it's Tehran Yusuf, who had a strip sack last week, making the play. 3rd and 20. They're just going to run the ball, and I don't really blame them. Center the kick, keeps you in field goal range, gives you the opportunity to make it a 2-score game. Stephen Wagner on to kick from 46. It'd be his longest of the game so far. It is good. 19-9. Both teams trading field goals early in the third, and we're right back to square one from the start of the second half. 3rd and 5. Logan is under pressure off the blitz, and it's incomplete. Miami's moving it pretty well. They've got it past the 35-yard line. Glikowski on 3rd and 8 has a clean pocket, surveys the field, has all day, and it is eventually caught. Maryland spins out of traffic past the 15, but there is a flag. A holding, a rare mistake by Caleb Smolko, the projected top draft pick. And instead of having it inside like the 10-yard line, it's now 3rd down, about 18 for the Canes. Under 3.5 to go in the third. With Augusto Duarte in motion, he will line. Oh, he's actually going to come out of the game. Glikowski looks to throw it. Miami with 10 guys on the field. It doesn't matter. Otis Gaffney gets the 1st down anyway, and the penalty proves to not be that big of a deal. Play action on 1st down. Nice catch. Inside the 10. Physicality at the catch point. Marquise Maryland is not a big guy, but he is someone who can really make impressive catches like that, even when he's covered. Calvin English in the backfield with the sack for Notre Dame. They've sent a fair bit of pressure today, and overall, I do feel like the pass defense for the Irish has played a pretty good game. 3rd and goal. Glikowski looks to throw it. Goes short. Caught. Touchdown, Miami. Augusto Duarte in for the score, and the Canes will make it a 3-score lead, 26-9. They haven't found the end zone consistently, but they've done a good job of scoring the ball, much like Notre Dame a week ago. Here is Amari Blue with a nice run. I like that they're not going away from the ground game entirely, especially considering they haven't been able to throw the ball. But down by 3 scores, obviously they're going to need to have a big sense of urgency as Blue is going backwards, and that will likely wrap up the third quarter. The Canes are in control here in Pasadena. They lead at 26-9. Miami does not have that big resume win this year. Their 11 wins are against unranked opponents. The one great team on their schedule, Clemson, they lost to. Granted, they did have the lead for most of that game, and they blew it. So maybe the door is open for Notre Dame. Who knows? On third down, it's broken away in the secondary, incomplete. Down by 3 scores. Coach Marcus Freeman does not think it's too early. Notre Dame is going to go for it. Logan looks to throw it. Clean pocket. Misfires. Not a good read because it looked like the receiver was covered short and the throw was way off. It's been a tough night for Max Logan. First and goal. KG Grouch in for a second time today. Miami, a team who, even with their elite offensive line, hasn't really run the ball well. Their running back room has not been good. But today, they have found a way. Grouch has been super efficient. He's close to 100 yards, 33-9. Really not looking good for Notre Dame. Logan lobs it up. It's picked off again. And this night goes from bad to worse for the Irish. Ahmad Lacey, the transfer from Illinois, one of the top defensive players in the portal, grabs the pick from one of the top quarterbacks in the portal. And it has been all Hurricanes here in the second half. Glukowski does misfire on third down, so Notre Dame will get it back. I don't know if that's a good thing, though. Shield yourselves. We have to watch Max Logan try to throw the ball again. 3rd and 17, they're just going to run it. Kind of waving the white flag. Although, to be fair, Amari Blue gets 16. So, I mean, I guess it was kind of a good play call. 4th down and 1. Notre Dame is going to go for it. This could be their last chance. Logan hands it off. Blue does not get it. Miami with the stop. They would chew clock for another 4 minutes. And the Hurricanes are the first of 4 to punch their ticket to the semifinals and the Season 2 finale in the next episode. They beat Notre Dame comfortably, 33-9. It wasn't necessarily a pretty game, but Miami won at the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame really struggled on offense. They did not score a touchdown. Maxwell Logan was horrendous at quarterback. The Canes haven't really been able to run the ball this year, even with their elite offensive line, but they could today. 18 for 97 and a pair of touchdowns for the true freshman, KG Grouch, who wins the player of the game. And that's kind of the thing with this Miami team. Maybe they don't have the star power that some of these other teams do, such as Notre Dame, with a guy like Amari Blue. But their roster, head to toe, is better than anybody's in college football. They will play the winner of the Hopi Reynolds Bowl, LSU or Georgia, for a spot in the national championship game. Great win for Miami, proving themselves that even though they really haven't played anyone great this year, it doesn't matter who's on the schedule. They'll find a way to win, and in this case, win comfortably, taking it by 4 scores. Notre Dame really struggled to throw the ball, and then look at the difference on the money downs. Miami, 9 of 14. Notre Dame, 1 for 10. Graham Glukowski played a pretty solid game, 25-38, 298, a touchdown and 2 picks. The 2 interceptions were worrisome, but the Miami defense did a good job of not letting Notre Dame take advantage. And other than those 2 plays, Glukowski was pretty solid. On the ground, though, Grouch, 18 for 97, talked about him earlier. Devon Berry was very effective on the ground as well. And then everybody ate through the air. It was certainly a team effort. Duarte had 7 catches. Joshua Finney and Marquise Maryland both played well. Otis Gaffney leads the way in yards. Offensive line was tremendous. Caleb Smolko and Jeshire Hope looked like first-rounders. And then the defense was amazing. They didn't put up the big sack numbers, but they sent pressure, and the coverage was fantastic. As for Notre Dame, 13 for 32, 172, and 2 interceptions for Maxwell Logan. Yeah, it was bad. He wasn't good under pressure. He was forcing bad throws. His accuracy was off. They didn't give Amari Blue the ball enough. He only had 12 carries and 2 receptions. It feels really similar to Brendan Holloway last year in the second round against Georgia. It was like he completely forgot how to play the quarterback position. So the season comes to a close for Notre Dame. Logan off to the NFL. Amari Blue off to the NFL. Notre Dame's going to have to regroup. We'll see if they go back to the portal for another veteran quarterback. The Texas Tech Red Raiders have won 27 games in a row. Since the start of this series, they are 28-1. The reigning champs back in the playoff, and their challengers, the Big Ten winners, the USC Trojans, who have a very impressive resume. Combined opponent record of 114-61. That's the highest mark in the country. They beat Penn State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Michigan at the Big House. Only lost to Notre Dame by 1. And then their big game, Ohio State in the conference title for a spot in the playoff, and USC took care of business. They also took care of business against Arizona State, winning 30-7, although they did trail for the first quarter and a half, but they really got rolling after that. The same Arizona State team that Texas Tech did beat twice this year, but not by as much as USC did. Jackson Jackson, the junior quarterback, was inaccurate but made some big throws in the win against the Sun Devils. They will need more consistency from him today, and they certainly will need more from the run game. Really struggled on the ground against the Sun Devils. Bud Cowell has been great this year. He was held in check by Arizona State. Matthew Firth, Kyrie Sampson, and Cesar Lorello all did play well against the Sun Devils for USC, so we'll see if they can keep it going. The offensive line has been a little inconsistent this year, but the defense is phenomenal, and they were unstoppable against Arizona State. Colin Costanzo won the NCAA Player of the Week. Buxton Weischer, 11 interceptions. Jim Thorpe Award winner Le'Veon Hope had a sack and a pick six against Arizona State. As for Texas Tech, these guys need no introduction. They have not lost since week 2 of last year. In the modern NIL era, winning 27 games in a row feels unheard of. How much longer can they keep the streak going? Their impressive wins this year include TCU on the road. They beat Arizona State twice. Both games were fairly competitive, decided by 2 scores. But Texas Tech has beaten everyone on their schedule. They beat Oklahoma State. They beat Arizona. Stanford and Iowa State, they won with blowouts. So we'll see what the Red Raiders have in store for us today. After winning 3 playoff games last year, what version of Colin Westwood are we going to get? Because he was honestly pretty bad the first half of this year. But over the last month or so, there's no quarterback in the country, in my opinion, who's playing better football than Colin Westwood. He knows how to win these big games. He was the college football playoff MVP last year. 6 touchdowns against Arizona State in the conference title. He threw 6 interceptions in the first 5 games of the year. Since then, he has thrown none. He's been a lot more careful with the football, and if he's accurate, then this offense could be in store for some big things. Part of the reason why I'm super high on Texas Tech is because I think they're better than last year. Having a guy like Mark Armstrong in the run game, something that their roster, their national championship winning roster, was missing. The receiving core is obviously worse than a year ago, but Elvis Phantom and Will Sara are certainly no slouches. Jamerson Kamara at tight end, he's really good. Kamara had a huge playoff run for them last year. Will Sara was excellent in the playoff. Their offensive line's rated a little low. The left tackle's a 69 overall, but it hasn't caused them any issues yet. And then their defense, for Big 12 standards, is really, really good. Spencer McPherson has come out of nowhere this year with 14 sacks. Jesus Ruse, we saw firsthand how dominant he is, which makes it all the bigger of a deal that he will not play. Broken fibula, projected top half of the first round guy, maybe even top 10. They're going to miss him. They're going to need a big game from Denario Lasco, who's a very good player in his own right. This Texas Tech team is obviously capable of winning the whole thing. And in my bracket, I have them repeating. I think they're going to do it again. With how well Colin Westwood is playing and how balanced this roster is, I really like their chances. How can USC beat them, though? Well, I don't think Texas Tech has as much star power as they did last year. Guys like Caleb Hobbs and Jordan Newton at wide receiver, Michael Bredesen in the secondary. Those guys were all top 100 picks. I think the key for USC is going to be getting Jackson to get going early. He's going to have to be a little more accurate than he was last week. And they've got to be better on the ground game. They could not run it whatsoever against Arizona State, but they still ended up winning fairly convincingly. Texas Tech's offense versus USC's defense. Hydrogen bomb versus hydrogen bomb. Here's Armstrong on the first play. Past the 45, a gain of 37. I feel like a proud parent watching our caterpillar blossom into a butterfly. Westwood on second down. He's got Sara. Breaks a tackle to the 1. Will Sara was a little inconsistent through the course of the year, but we saw it last season. He played his best when the lights were the brightest. Westwood loses yards, though, on the option. Texas Tech is having some trouble punching it in. 3rd down and goal now for the Red Raiders. Westwood to throw it. End zone. Wide open. Touchdown. Elvis Phantom, the transfer from Baylor. He had 3 catches for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Big 12 title game against Arizona State. Finds the end zone again here. Jackson on 3rd and 18. Winds it up. It's broken away. Quick start for the Red Raiders. They score a touchdown and get a stop We'll see if they can keep it going on first down. Here's Westwood. That one is hauled in up the seam. Tavita Nicky past the 25. Texas Tech having no problems early in this game. 3rd and 10. Westwood goes short for Mark Armstrong, who has nowhere to go. And the former Hokie in his 4th year as a starter loses yards. They'll count that as a run. Field goal unit is on for the Red Raiders, looking to put themselves on the board. 42-yarder for Justice Mesco is good. And that'll make it 10-0. The Red Raiders now leading by 2 scores with about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Still a lot of time for USC, but this is a rough start. Jackson on first down. High pass is caught. Cesar Lorello near the 40. USC's just got to stay consistent on offense. Take baby steps. It's a daunting task to try to come back against, well, the hottest team in the country, but they've still got 3.5 quarters. Lorello up the middle again, the freshman tight end, making a lot of plays early. That'll wrap up the first quarter. It's been all Red Raiders so far. They lead at 10-0. Texas Tech is moving the ball at a very efficient clip. Armstrong, Westwood, Sara, all these guys making some big plays. But USC's moving it pretty well. They've got it inside the red zone, looking at a huge 3rd down and 6. Jackson looks to throw it, surveys the field under pressure. He throws it away. Texas Tech sending pressure in the backfield with the stop. That was McPherson, the standout redshirt senior. 14 sacks this year with the pressure. Field goal unit on for USC. It's Mafu Mama. His kick is good, and so USC is on the board, and it is only a 1-score game as it's 10-3. Tech back with it. Westwood on first down. He's got Sara again near the 40. These two guys are in sync, just like the playoff last year. Will Sara very easily could have won the playoff MVP if he put up some bigger numbers in the national championship. 3rd and 10. Westwood goes short. Not going to get them much of anything. The tight end Jamison Kamara out of bounds. They'll punt it away. So after a slow start, just like last week, it seems like USC is starting to wake up a little bit. Jackson lobs it up down the field. It's caught! Oh, what a catch by Matthew Firth. Moving the chains for the Trojans. He had a big 77-yard touchdown against Arizona State. Jackson on 3rd and 11 looks to throw it under a little pressure. Low pass caught. First down, not quite. Good effort, though, by Colin Daniels, the redshirt sophomore, and they would elect to punt it on 4th and short. So Texas Tech will get it back. Remains 10-3. Westwood on 3rd down. He's got Sara for the first down past the 35. USC had their slow start against Arizona State. They had it again against Texas Tech. There's a big difference, though. There's a lot less margin for error against a team like this. Armstrong gets nothing on 3rd. They're going to go for it on 4th and 3. Westwood looking deep down the field for the end zone for Sara. It's broken up. Yeah, great idea. On 4th down, you throw a go ball that's covered for your 5'8" slot guy. Jackson looks to repay the favor. It's incomplete. Good effort by USC, but they're unable to connect on the touchdown. Field goal is up, and it is good, but we have the flag. That might be a roughing the kicker on Texas Tech. A costly penalty against the Red Raiders that'll give USC a first down. Frederick Aldridge, you cannot do that. USC's got it now at the 10. Jackson, read option. Jackson walks it in, and we are tied. 4-point swing on the penalty by the special teams for the Red Raiders. That is a killer. They would have had the lead going into the half, although they could anyway. 24 seconds. They've got pretty good field position. Westwood steps up. Under pressure, sack from his blind side by Trey Nolan Reese, the transfer from Oregon. 96 overall edge rusher who's never put it together, but he's having a nice game. That'll wrap up the first half. We're tied at 10. It was all Texas Tech in the first quarter, but it's been all USC since then in the second quarter. Credit to the Trojans for making this certainly a game, as Texas Tech has looked a little sloppy as of late. Westwood's been pretty good, though. 15 of 23, 171 yards and a touchdown. 6 for 55 for Armstrong. Sara's got 5 for 84. For USC, Jackson looks pretty solid. 14 of 19, 137. Interestingly, with their struggles to run the ball with Jalir Jean last week, today Jean has been benched. He hasn't gotten a touch yet. Mike Chesney has been the starting running back. Jackson on 3rd and 4. Lobs it up. He's got it! Bug Coel! It's a bug's life! Touchdown USC! The Trojans take the lead. 5'8", 189. Coel hauls it in for a 62-yarder. That's 17 straight points for USC. 3rd and 14. Colin Westwood up the middle. Incomplete! And the tides and the momentum of this game are really shifting fast in favor of the Trojans. Here's Chesney up the middle. Plenty of room inside the 20. USC looks dominant early in the 3rd. Jackson on 2nd down. Clean pocket. Goes short. Colin Daniels walks it in for a touchdown. USC leads by multiple possessions here in the 3rd. This game has really been flipped on its head quickly. It was 10-0 Texas Tech after the first quarter. I thought this game had a chance to be a blowout in favor of the Red Raiders. If they don't get their act together, it could go in the other direction. Big first down catch for Texas Tech. They needed that one badly. It's David Ajala with the reception. Unable to get anything, though, on 3rd down, and they're going to punt it. USC gets it back. That ball's out. It's a fumble. Scooped up by the defense, and it's a scoop and score for Texas Tech by Carlos Ruiz. Denario Lasco with the strip sack, and Texas Tech is back in the game. They needed a big spark. Offense, defense, whatever you can give us. Lasco rips it away. It's clearly a fumble, and Carlos Ruiz is going to take it to the crib for a touchdown. They needed Lasco to step up with no Jesus Roos. USC returns the favor. Bug Coel says right back at ya. What a throw by Jackson Jackson. And it's right back to a 2-score game just like that. Wow. 3 passing touchdowns in the 3rd quarter for Jackson Jackson. He looks awesome right now. That might be the best throw I've ever seen him make. Perfectly places it on the nose for Coel. His 2nd long touchdown of the game. 31-17 USC. Texas Tech gets it back. 2nd and 11. Short throw is going to be caught. Gain of about 5, and that'll bring us to a pivotal 3rd down and 6 for Texas Tech. They've got to get this. If not, do you consider going for it? Westwood under pressure. It's caught for a big first down, but there is a flag. That is a brutal penalty against Texas Tech. A holding on the offense on the guard Madden. And with 3 seconds left, they'll get another play here at the end of the 3rd. Backed up at the 10-yard line, 3rd and 16 for the Red Raiders. Westwood looks to throw it. Westwood has a clean pocket. He's just going to go short. That's going to get them nothing. Through 3 quarters, USC's looking good. They've outscored Texas Tech 31-7 since the start of the 2nd. Jackson Jackson played an unbelievable quarter of football, throwing for 3 touchdowns. USC's in a good spot. Texas Tech does decide to punt it. USC's got good field position. 3rd and 4. Daniels, he's had a great game. Not enough for the first, and they will understandably take the points, just trying to make it a 3-score lead. Mafu Mama on to kick for the Trojans from 45. It is good. 34-17. USC leads by 3 possessions, and the Red Raiders, the back-to-back champions, 27-game win streak, and most importantly, my bracket pick, they are in major jeopardy of going one and done. Here's Armstrong past the 40. Good run for Mark Armstrong, who's played well when they've gotten him the ball. Read option. Westwood gets nothing on 1st down. Another great play by Colin Costanzo, who's been all over the field again today. Won the National Defensive Player of the Week last week. In this game, he's at like 15 tackles. He's a guy whose draft stock has really gone up during this year's playoff run. 2nd and 10. That one is caught. Darren Singleton inside the 10. The 5. Walk-in touchdown. Singleton, one of the depth receivers. He had the big 4th down reception in the semifinal Rose Bowl game against Ohio State last year. He's in for a 40-yard touchdown today. It's a 2-score game. 3rd and 11. Got to get a stop if you're Tech. Jackson lobs it up again for Coel. It's broken away this time. There is a flag. It'll be on the offense. Got to imagine Texas Tech will decline it. They've got to play pretty much flawless football over the next 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I think with this group, though, it is doable. 4th and inches, big first down conversion. A spin move and more past the 30 by Tavita Nicky. Westwood gets clobbered in the backfield by Trey Nolan Reese, but there is a penalty. Offsides on Buxton Weischer. So instead of a 4th and 7, it's now 1st and goal. Huge penalty that gets Texas Tech close to the end zone. Now at the 2-minute timeout, looking to make it a one-score game. Westwood keeps it again, and he is short on 2nd and goal. That'll make it a 3rd down. This clock is moving from the 2. Under a minute 50 now to play. Westwood looks to throw it. Picked off! Channing McAfee's got it! McAfee gets a block! Beats Armstrong! 102 yards! The reigning champions have been dethroned by the Trojans! USC takes a 3-score lead, and you will see them in the semifinals of the playoff. McAfee, who had an interception last week, gets another one. He's a backup. He's only played a few games this year in place of their starting free safety, Eric Donnerson. Talk about making the most of your opportunity. He had the game-clinching interception against Arizona State last week. He gets the big pick 6 here to punch USC's ticket and end the win streak, bearing something unheard of for Texas Tech. How many people saw this coming? A massive upset on the horizon. Texas Tech, the reigning champions, in danger of going one and done in the playoff. 2nd and 12. Nice catch by Elvis Phantom. That'll move the chains. 40 seconds now. 3rd and 2. Westwood looks to throw it. Westwood, his pass nearly intercepted. I see what he was trying to do there. The receiver was going to be open deep, but that pass was horribly timed, and it was well short. 4th and 2, game on the line for good. Westwood keeps it himself, gets the first, past the 20. Was he taunting the defense? My brother in Christ, you are down by 17. 7 seconds now, 4th down and 17 for the Red Raiders. Westwood lobs it up for the end zone. It's incomplete, and that will do it. USC has knocked off the once unstoppable Texas Tech Red Raiders. We will have a new champion in Season 2. Texas Tech will not be going back-to-back. Their first loss since Week 2 of last year. 27-game win streak is snapped. And again, most importantly of all, my bracket, and I imagine a lot of yours, is cooked. What a game from that young man. Jackson Jackson played unbelievable for USC. And if he slings the ball like that, they can beat anyone. I mean, they beat Texas Tech here in the Peach Bowl. So by default, if you can beat the team who's won 27 games in a row, you should certainly be able to beat anyone. USC will play against the winner of SMU and Clemson in the next round. To think Texas Tech was up 10-0 after the first quarter, too. 41-14 after that. Jackson, woo boy. 26 for 35, 356, and 3 tubs. Those 2 touchdown throws to Bug Coel, especially the second one, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen him throw the ball better. I mean, he looks awesome right now. And I think we're going to really start to have conversations about him entering the NFL this year. I mean, I've always pegged him as a long-term draft prospect, but maybe the future is right now. They benched Jalir Jean, clearly a good decision, and then all the receivers got going. Daniels 8 for 85, Coel 4 for 35 and 2. Firth was kind of quiet, though, minus that one big catch, but Lorello had 67. But back to Jackson. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the tools, he's got the production, he's playing well here in the playoff. I mean, he could be the 3rd first-round quarterback. There's a real argument for it. Got to shout out this USC defense. They played really well again. Colin Costanzo everywhere on the field. Channing McAfee with the game-winning pick 6. As for Texas Tech, an extraordinary run by the Red Raiders, winning 27 games in a row. I didn't know that was possible in the NIL era. 30 for 51, 360, 2 tubs and a pick for Westwood. Kind of a similar game to Bryce Carver against Clemson, where I don't think he's at fault for the loss. I think it's more the guys around him failed him. The offensive line, the receivers, the defense. And the play calling, Mark Armstrong did not get the ball enough. He was very effective when he got it. Will Sara steps up in the big moments. He had 8 for 110. Phantom and Singleton with touchdowns. Defense was rough, though. They looked good early. They had the strip sack by Denario Lasco. I said he needed to step up, and he did. 4 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, forced the fumble. He was great. He was a game wrecker against us. He had 1 sack the rest of the year, and then gets 2.5 today. The problem is nobody else was that good. The ACC rematch here in the Fiesta Bowl. SMU and Clemson. And with a team like Texas Tech out, that certainly would excite a team like SMU, who we have pegged as a favorite since the very start of the year. They are beatable, though, and Clemson knows that firsthand because, well, they beat them. This Tigers team has been an enigma all year, but they have a better resume than maybe anyone in the country. Beat Florida, beat Oklahoma. A little spotty here towards the middle. They needed double overtime to beat us. Lost to Boston College, got clobbered by Notre Dame, and at this point in the year, they have to win out if they want to make the playoff, and that's where they have 5 fourth-quarter comebacks, including beating Miami, close games against Louisville, Florida State, South Carolina, playing to the level of their competition. That's why I didn't trust them. But they beat SMU in the ACC title, they beat Texas in the first round, and they won those 2 games convincingly, especially the game against SMU. I know 37-20 doesn't look that crazy, but the score at halftime was 27-3. Clemson was blowing them out. Nick Eberle's a guy who's been a little inconsistent through his career, the decision-making, the accuracy, a little bit spotty, but he's playing some good football. He's looked excellent over the last couple of weeks. They will still be without running back Damon Hershey, though. That's a pretty big loss, but they've got some studs at receiver. Judah Yesufu is awesome. He looks the part of the first rounder. We've played against some great receivers in this series. He's the only guy I can say that Virginia Tech has really struggled with. He was electric when we saw them this year. Messiah Cook, the former #1 recruit, looked like a disappointment early in his career, but he's really started to heat up for the Tigers. Their offensive line is solid, and then their defense against the 2 best quarterbacks in the country, they've looked really good. Well, they get to play against one of those top quarterbacks again. In the projected #1 pick, Tyree Wells and SMU. At the very start of the year, I said that SMU would be the favorites to win the national title. Even though I picked against them in my bracket to get there, them being the favorite hasn't really changed. I mean, they went undefeated in the regular season. They beat Texas, who we know is a very good team. They beat NC State on the road. They were the first team out of the playoff. We got to see them, and, SMU didn't play their best game. It was tied after the third before they ran away with it in the fourth. But they really played poorly in the ACC title against Clemson. They made it closer in the second half, but they stunk. That was a wake-up call, maybe a much-needed wake-up call for SMU. They were down 27-3 at the break. And now, well, they get their chance at revenge, and it's familiar territory for SMU. They went undefeated in the regular season last year, lost in the conference title to Stanford, and then got to play against Stanford again in the first round and blew them out. It's the pretty much exact same scenario, but instead it's in the second round this go-around. They've got Tyree Wells, who since the start of the year has been the projected #1 pick at quarterback, and that has not changed. An old-school pocket passer with a little modern flair and finesse. He's got a rocket. He's pretty accurate. He's a super savvy player under pressure. He's a great decision maker. Damon Easter's been injured, and he will not go for SMU today. That's a big loss. Torn abdominal. He didn't play against Clemson in the ACC title, and they really missed him. I thought he was going to be available for this game, so him not being out there really hurts. We saw how good he is firsthand. A season-high 154 rushing yards, including a 95-yarder. So with Easter out, Devontae Sledge will have to pick up the load. Obviously, this is still very much a pass-first team with the best quarterback in the country. And, oh yeah, they had the Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver. 95 catches, nearly 1,500 yards, and 27 touchdowns for Parker Zasco. Only didn't score against one team. Yeah, we're going to give ourselves a pat on the back for a while for that one. Zasco swept every major award, but what's scary about him is all the other guys you got to cover. Travis Faust, who didn't drop a single pass this year. Raylo Benway, Calvin Farrell. Last year, it was an even split in terms of the touches. This year, it's been the Parker Zasco show, but regardless, this offense is so good. Their offensive line's been banged up, but everybody's played well. Their defense has a lot of good players individually. I think as a unit, they've been a little suspect this year. We saw that in the ACC title, but you got guys like Square and Williams, who I think will be a first-rounder. Cyril Ahmed, 6 interceptions, had a 102-yard pick six against us. Should be a fun one here in the Fiesta Bowl. Winner will be facing off against USC for a spot in the national championship game. Clemson is a team who just continues to find a way. They scratch and claw and do not quit. There are so many opportunities for them to have rolled over and died. I thought time and time again they would be out of the playoff, but they sneak into the ACC title. They blow out SMU. They beat Texas in the first round, showing that they belong. But you have an SMU team who's been pegged as the favorite all year. It feels like it's their year. And getting an opportunity to avenge their ACC title loss, they did it last year. Why can't they do it again? We'll start with SMU and Tyree Wells, who lobs it up on 3rd and 5. Incomplete. He was looking for Faust. That'll lead to a punt. Clemson gets it for the first time today. 3rd and 5 with Frosty Winters in motion. Nick Eberle looks to throw it. The redshirt sophomore, he's got his man, Cole Gooden, to around the 20. Quick start for the Tigers. SMU cannot start slow. They started off sluggish in the ACC title against Clemson and fell behind quick. Eberle, nearly intercepted. Oh my goodness, that should have been a takeaway. In and out of his hands, and that'll bring out the field goal unit. It's Anthony Rosa from around 30 yards for Clemson. His kick is good. The Tigers lead it 3-0. That was such a bad throw, though, on 3rd down by Eberle. That was so dangerous. SMU's got it back. They haven't done much on offense so far. Wells on 3rd and 5, looking deep again. It is incomplete. Interestingly, these two deep balls in terms of accuracy were like perfect. Tyree Wells put them exactly where they needed to be, but the coverage both times was excellent. This Clemson team might have the best secondary in the country. They are so good in the back end. 3rd and 7, Eberle wants a turn. It's caught by the defense. Square on Williams, his 7th interception of the year. What a play by the potential first rounder, the transfer from Middle Tennessee State. I don't know how he stayed in bounds. He didn't need to catch it because it would have been a 4th down anyway, but still, holy hell, SMU will get it back. Both quarterbacks have been a little reckless so far. Eberle lobbing it up. Granted, it really is just an arm punt, and Judah Yesufu is 7 inches taller, so I don't mind the decision to lob it up for him. On 3rd down, Wells keeps it on the option, breaks a tackle, and gets the first down. Good play there by Tyree Wells, moving the chains. First down of the game for SMU. Wells evades the pressure. What a throw! He's got Zasko on the run past the 35, and here comes Tyree Wells. He's starting to look like himself a little bit after a slow start. Wells on 1st down with a bullet. What a throw! Into the hands of Jameel Maul for a gain of about 25. Now on 2nd and 5, short throw. It's caught by Raylo Benway, who breaks a tackle past the 25. SMU is largely a senior-driven team. Other than Damon Easter, they're an older group. They're very experienced. Tyree Wells on the option inside the 10. It's been a fantastic possession through the projected number 1 pick. Play action. Wells with a dot in the end zone for a touchdown. Travis Faust in for the score. What a throw by Wells. I mean, that was great coverage by Eric Henderson, who had 2 interceptions against Texas. But Wells throws it up to where only his big-bodied receiver, Travis Faust, can come down with it. That looked like a drive for a number 1 pick. New York Jets fans, you should be excited. That will probably be your quarterback. Keelan Cantwell, the defensive tackle, sacks Eberle. Clemson had all the momentum the first 5-6 minutes of the game, and it has vanished fast. 3rd and long, Eberle looking deep again for Yesufu. No, it's broken away again. So that'll lead to a punt. SMU gets it back, looking to carry on with their hot start. Play action. Oh, baby, what a nice throw again. He's got Zasko past the 40. The Heisman Trophy winner starting to get going through the air. Wells on the option. He's been good as a runner so far. 3 carries, 28 yards. All first downs. They've got it at the 25. Wells, play action. Wells up the seam with a dot! Oh my goodness, he is making every throw in the book. It is Raylo Benway with the touchdown, and SMU adds to the lead. It's 14-3. That is an NFL throw up the seam 3 defenders circling the water like sharks. Doesn't faze Tyree Wells. He is a fearless player who knows how to perfectly time his throws. 14-3 lead for SMU. What a start for Wells. Eberle on first down up the middle. That's caught by Messiah Cook. That'll wrap up the first quarter. The big takeaway so far is that, Tyree Wells, good ball player. Some of the throws he's made in this game have been pretty unbelievable. I mean, the guy looks like an NFL quarterback out there. His anticipation in the pocket, his ability to get through progressions, his ability to navigate through pressure. Eberle with a nice throw up the middle. He's got Messiah Cook again inside the 20. Clemson's offense looking to retaliate. Frosty Winters finds room. Spin move inside the 5. I think I mentioned it earlier, but with Damon Hershey out, he's the guy who's going to have to really take on the load. Pause. Winters in the end zone for a touchdown. Frosty Winters puts Clemson back within 1 score. As well as Tyree Wells, has looked, Clemson is very much in this game. They're only down by 4. On 3rd and 7, Wells, clean pocket. Up the middle for Zasko again. These two guys just have so much chemistry. They're so consistently on the same page. 3rd and 10, Wells misfires for Travis Faust. That might be his first bad play of the game. Accuracy was offline. Clemson back with it. That one is caught. Miguel Johns, the tight end, gets it to around the 50. Clemson's moving it pretty well. Their offense looks good here in the second quarter. Emmanuel Whippler up the middle with a spin move past the 20. Clemson knows they've got to play possibly in a track meet, and they're keeping pace. Judah Yesufu in for the touchdown, and Clemson takes the lead. 17-14 in favor of the Tigers. Give Clemson a lot of credit. Again, in a game where Tyree Wells has looked unbelievable, they're not only hanging in there, they had the lead. I don't know how the defensive lineman missed that. He was blitzing. I don't know why he went to the running back rather than sacking Wells. He makes a nice throw. Wells connects up the middle. Past the 30, it's Travis Faust, who had a touchdown earlier. Under a minute 40 now. SMU in no rush. That one is caught by Jameel Maul, the transfer from Arkansas. He's probably going to be the wide receiver 1 next year. I mean, this offense is going to look super different. They went all in on this year. That's why guys like Wells and Faust and Zasko all returned when they could have easily gotten picked. 3rd down, Wells lobs it up for the end zone. It's intercepted. Eric Henderson Jr. strikes again. In 7 games this year, he's picked off 5 passes, including 3 in the playoff. Bad decision by Wells. He could have just thrown it away and let SMU kick it. A rare mistake by a guy who is as consistent as it gets. Whippler gets the first down. Clemson calls time. They've got a chance to add to the lead. I mean, that's just such a rare, poor decision by Tyree Wells, who's usually so level-headed. On first down, here's Eberle. Looks to scramble on the run with a beautiful throw for Messiah Cook, who could not get out of bounds. But he does put Clemson in field goal range. With 10 seconds left, they are going to kick. Anthony Rosai, his kick is good from 42. And going into the half, it's Clemson with the lead 20-14. Should you be encouraged or discouraged as an SMU fan? Because on one hand, star quarterback's playing really well. I know the numbers don't pop off the page for Wells. He's 16 of 27, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. But it's pretty obvious watching him that he looks surgical right now. Some of the throws he's making, I mean, these are NFL plays. I mean, this guy just has such an awareness of when and where his wide receivers are going to be, when they're going to be open, how to dissect coverages. He has made some wow throws in this game, yet they're still losing. I think Tyree Wells can be Superman, but he was Superman for the first 15 minutes of the game, and they're trailing. And that's not to mention Clemson starts with the ball. Eberle, 18 of 27, 240, a touchdown and a pick in the first half. He goes up the middle for Messiah Cook, who's got over 100 yards now. Eberle over 300, and that'll put Clemson in the red zone with a chance to make it a 2-score game. We'll see if the Tigers can take advantage. Eberle under pressure, full-on blitz, and SMU gets the sack. Paul Office and Kainoa Kealoha, a couple of the off-ball linebackers, bring him down. SMU looking to peg Clemson out of field goal range if they can. 3rd and 18. Eberle for the end zone. It is caught! Touchdown, Judy Yesufu! Now there is a flag. A lot of contact in the end zone. It's a defensive pass interference on Byron Sanders. So this penalty is declined. What a catch by Judy Yesufu. 2nd touchdown of the game. 27-14, Clemson up. 3rd down and 4. Tyree Wells looks to throw it. Under pressure, caught, and they get the 1st down. Jameel Maul with a great play after the catch, keeping the drive going. 3rd down and 2 now. Wells calls for an audible at the line. It's an RPO for Zasko, and he gets nothing. Faizador Samadi brings him down, and at what point, if you're SMU, do you start to really worry? Clemson has outscored them 24-0 since the start of the 2nd quarter. There's Miguel Johns up the middle. This is quickly turning into the ACC title game. Clemson is in full control right now. Eberle looking for the sideline. It's caught. Messiah Cook again, past the 25. I mean, if this Clemson team can dominate SMU twice, they can beat anyone. Cook again into the end zone for a touchdown, and Clemson's dominant run continues. They add to the lead. They're up by 3 scores, and guess what? They're still not done. They're going for 2 to try to make it a clean 21-point lead. In a goal line package with 3:12 left in the 3rd, Eberle hands it off. Winters is untouched. That's now 32 unanswered points for Clemson, who's starting to turn this game into a blowout. I think it's fair to say SMU is starting to panic a little bit. Clemson with their 1st sack of the game. They are firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball. Derek Lehan brings down Wells, who makes a huge throw to keep the drive going. It's Parker Zasko with a pivotal 1st down. SMU just trying to get something going here on offense with 12 minutes left in this game total. Wells connects with Travis Faust past the 20. There's a big play. 3rd and 2. Late pitch. Nowhere to go. Isaiah Austin, the safety, with the tackle on the running back. That being the backup, Luis Vermigilio. Kick is good on 4th down for SMU by David Grace from 32. It's still a 3-score game, though. 32-17. They don't really make up that much ground. 16 seconds left for Clemson here in the 3rd. SMU's defense has got to wake up. They've been horrible since the 1st quarter. Eberle tipped and broken up. Big stop to end what was otherwise another disastrous quarter for SMU. And the team who's been the favorite all year. The team who felt like this is their year with Tyree Wells and Parker Zasko and all these seniors. It's now or never for SMU. These 10 minutes will decide their season. They trail by 18. 2nd and 8. Wells goes short. It's caught. Travis Faust inside the red zone. Wells looking for the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown. Good start to the 4th for the Mustangs. It's Jason Lane, the tight end. Got to start somewhere, right? As it's 35-23. Then following the PAT, the lead is within 11. Clemson has it back. Under 6 to play. Eberle, play action, up the middle. Nice 1st down. That'll keep the chains moving, and more importantly, that'll keep the clock going. The more time taken off, the better for the Tigers. Eberle goes short again. It's Yesufu. 1st down inside the 25. Clemson's leaning on their quarterback. Frosty Winters breaks the tackle into the end zone for a touchdown, and it's back to a 3-score lead for the Tigers, who are in striking distance of knocking off the playoff favorite SMU. That pass is incomplete. We look at now a 4th down and 6, possibly the last hurrah for Tyree Wells and company. Wells will look to throw it up the middle. It is dropped. And that should just about do it. A couple more 1st downs, and this game is over. Another upset possibly on the way. Eberle will throw it on 3rd down. He's got Yesufu again. What a night for Judy Yesufu. What a game for Nick Eberle. A true coming out party for the sophomore quarterback as SMU is eliminated. The frontrunner since the start of the year goes one and done in the postseason. Tyree Wells' collegiate career is over. Clemson will play against USC for a spot in the national championship in the next episode. Who could have seen this coming going into the day? SMU and Texas Tech felt like the two teams throughout the course of the year who would find their way deep into the postseason, possibly in the national championship, and they both get upset in the second round without winning a singular playoff game. The Mustangs do not get revenge for the ACC title. Clemson beats them for a second time. That is unbelievably impressive. So we'll start with SMU because that is certainly one of the big stories of this playoff. Throughout the entire year, I thought they had a chance to go all the way, but they don't even win a single game. And Tyree Wells' SMU career is over. What a run it has been over the last 2 years for him. Could have been a top 10 pick last year. Decides to return to school, run it back with SMU. Obviously, they fall short. It's hard to blame him, though, for the loss. Some of those throws, especially early in the game in the first 15 minutes, I mean, my God, those were unbelievable NFL-level plays. Assuming he is the number one pick and assuming that team is the New York Jets, Jets fans, you should be excited. This guy is special. He has left quite the legacy with the Mustangs. Had Damon Easter been healthy, would things have been different? Well, I think things would have been better. They couldn't really run the ball today. Would it have been an 18-point difference? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think Damon Easter can play defense. But not having him certainly made things tricky for the offense. They only scored 10 points after the first quarter. 7 for 99 for Zasco. Did not score just the second time all year. Travis Faust made some big plays. He had 2 drops, though, after 0 drops coming into the day. And then the defense was largely a disaster. They had a couple nice plays in the backfield. Williams had the impressive interception, but Nick Eberle had his way. He was picking these guys apart. 33 for 45, 471. 3 touchdowns and a pick. The true coming out party for Nick Eberle. I don't know if he's ready for the NFL after this year because, I mean, his game is still raw, but holy hell, was he awesome. I mean, we watched Gods play the quarterback position today between him and Tyree Wells. And now we've got 2 of the hottest quarterbacks in the country with Eberle and Jackson Jackson facing off against each other, not just for a spot in the national championship, but maybe for a spot in the first round. Judy Yesufu was awesome, 8 for 104 and 2 tubs. Messiah Cook, 8 for 168, a career day for the former number 1 recruit. These 2 guys are on an absolute tear. Clemson's offense is playing some magnificent football, but so is their defense, especially this secondary. This is 3 games in a row against Tyree Wells, Bryce Carver, and Tyree Wells again, the 2 best quarterbacks in the country. And the most amount of points they allowed was today, 24. I mean, this secondary is ridiculous. Eric Henderson's playing great. Everybody's playing great. So with that, we've got 1 game to go. The main event, the Hopi Reynolds Bowl, the number 1 seed, Georgia Bulldogs, who have won 12 games in a row, including a second consecutive SEC title, set to face off against their former quarterback. That young man, Hopi Reynolds, leading the 11-2 LSU Tigers, who dropped a couple games early in the year to Texas and Oklahoma. And as we've talked about with them, it seemed like they had a fairly easy schedule the second half of the year with a great opportunity to run the table. After beating Alabama, they were firmly in position to do that. Their most impressive wins, including a blowout against Auburn. They won their last 2 games by a lot against A&M and Missouri. Then going to Happy Valley in the first round. That place is loud. And for most of the game, LSU was down. But I think the big difference is that Penn State is a true freshman at quarterback, while LSU has probably the most experienced player in the field. A 4-year starter with 3 different SEC schools. We got to see Hopi Reynolds turn into a star at Georgia, led them to the playoff last year, led them to the national semifinal where they lost to Kieran Riddle in Alabama. I mean, he's been a great player wherever he's gone, and now he looks to beat his former school. Bryce Davis leads the way at running back. Got a little banged up late against Penn State. He will be good to go against the Dogs. They've got a pretty well-rounded group in the receiving room. And then the defense, I think, is one of the big reasons why they beat Penn State to begin with, only allowing 16 points. Guys like Daniel Lasco in the middle, Maurice Beaver, Austin Wynn. Kenyon Snowden had another interception, his 8th of the year, although he got burnt as well on a long touchdown. Then we get to Georgia. They were the offseason losers. They lost a ton of guys to the draft. They had a surprise exodus to the transfer portal. It wasn't just Reynolds, but Sorodiah Nobles and Taylor Pierce at wide receiver going to Tennessee. Then they lose by 3 scores in week 1 to Ohio State, and it really feels like the sky fell for Georgia. They hit rock bottom. But we got to remember, it's Georgia. They won 12 games in a row after that. They beat Oklahoma in the SEC title. That's their only ranked win, however. Other than Auburn. Auburn wasn't ranked at the time. But Georgia, much like Miami, they haven't really played that many great teams. And unlike Miami, they're not blowing teams out. So there are some questions in terms of how good this team truly is. Nonetheless, they've got plenty of talent. They didn't panic once Hopi Reynolds left. They didn't rush a freshman to start. They didn't go after anybody else in the portal. They stuck with a guy already in the system in redshirt junior Ryan Lockley. 71% completion percentage, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the country. He had a great year, and he looks like a future pro. Curtin Pexel, the freshman running back, leads the team in yards. It's a very balanced backfield, though, and Pexel did miss some time late in the year, but he will be good to go here for the playoff. At wide receiver, the star of the show is Brian Maddie, who leads college football in receiving yards. Maddie was the number 2 behind Sir Odiah Nobles last year, but with Nobles going to Tennessee, he has elevated himself. Adrian Moon, a freshman, over 1,000 yards. Jared Irving, the John Mackey Award winner at tight end. Kavaria Jackson, the number 1 recruit in this year's class. Their offensive line is great, and their defense, it's maybe not as good as last year's group, but still very solid. In the back end, they are loaded with talent in the secondary. Up front, Isaiah DeRugi, 10 sacks. I feel like Georgia's kind of misusing him, though. Brendan Mankins is a stud. He's got 8. Crusher Hoyt, projected first rounder, 6.5. And then again, plenty of talent in the secondary. It's a really, really well-rounded roster. And even though I'm not sold on them based on their resume, they haven't really blown out anybody good. They've taken care of business after their first loss of the year when things looked rough for them with losing the offseason. Georgia was the number 1 seed last year. They made it to the semifinals, losing to Alabama. Today, either Georgia or Hopi Reynolds will return to the semifinals as the Dogs start with the ball. We'll take our first look at Ryan Lockley as that one is caught up the middle. It's Brian Maddie past the 40. I'm excited to watch Maddie, a likely first-round pick in this year's draft. Certainly first-round production. Over the top, it's Maddie! Tackled into the end zone for a touchdown, and the Dogs are quickly on the board. We're already getting the Brian Maddie show early and often as he scores on the opening drive for Georgia. Not a great ball by Lockley. It was really wobbly. He was under pressure, to be fair, but Maddie's open. He keeps his balance, breaks a tackle, and waltzes in for a score. Now it's Hopi Reynolds against his former team. Reynolds on 3rd and 4. It is dropped. It was an accurate throw in and out of the hands of his receiver, that being Ventrice Wiseman, who's injured on the play. Lockley launches a bomb deep down the field. It is caught! Brian Maddie does it again! 65 to the crib! And the possible Heisman candidate at wide receiver certainly looks the part early. His second touchdown in the first 5 minutes of the game. Georgia up 14-0. LSU's got it here on first down. Reynolds down the field. What a throw and catch. That was a really nice, really tough grab by Xavier Buckley. Short throw for the tight end, Terrell Licata. Past the 15, past the 10. LSU knows they need to respond after allowing 2 big touchdowns, and they are quick to work as they've got it inside the 10-yard line. Reynolds hands it off. Bryce Davis, the All-American running back, possible first-round pick, in for a touchdown. The junior, a native of Conyers, Georgia. So a good response by the Tigers. They needed that one pretty badly, and it's 14-7. 3rd and 3. Here's Ryan Lockley. 2 touchdowns early. Way overthrows his target. I think he was looking for Maddie, who was double-teamed, and widely so. That's a good decision by LSU. Here is Davis on the screen, breaking tackles. He's got the first down. Georgia looked dominant the first 4.5 minutes of the game, but credit to LSU. I mean, they're really battling back. They scored the touchdown. They got the stop on defense, and they're moving it here on offense as Tate Evans gets the first. His twin brother, Tylen Evans, the starting quarterback at Texas A&M. Not the only set of twins between LSU and A&M. 4th and 1, Tigers will go. It's tipped and intercepted. Jeff Gokong, the safety, picks it off. He had an interception against Brennan Holloway in the playoff last year against Notre Dame. and he gets one here for Georgia. Their secondary is ridiculously deep. I mean, yeah, they lost some guys to the draft last year. They lost the top corner off the board, the top safety off the board, but they're still so deep in the back end. 14-7 through 1. It was a hot start for Georgia. Brian Maddie looks incredible so far, but LSU's battling back. Yeah, Reynolds just threw the pick, but it was 4th down and it was dropped, so it's not really on him. Bulldogs with a 3rd and 18 early in the second. Lockley looking down the field, incomplete. Trying to get it to Jared Irving, the best tight end in America, another likely first-round draft pick. Common theme with this Georgia team. They're probably going to have at least 3 or 4. Up the middle, that one is caught. Really nice throw by Reynolds, dancing around under pressure, connecting with Buckley. On 1st down, it's picked again! Another turnover forced by the Georgia defense. This time it's Tommy Peel, the sophomore safety, not one of the regular starters on this defense, but as I mentioned, they're so deep in the back end. They've got 4 or 5 safeties who get regular playing time. They're loaded in the corner room. I mean, their secondary just has so many great players, and we're seeing those guys making plays in this game. Lockley on the run, broken away. So Georgia does not take advantage of the pick. They had the 2 early touchdowns, but they've done nothing since on offense over the last, 12 minutes. LSU's defense is kind of keeping them in the game after that rough start. Reynolds, it's a screen. Davis gets nothing. The Georgia defense gets another stop, and they will get it back on offense. It's Gideon Chigozium with the tackle for the Dogs. It's a run play. Bryce Rain, the transfer from Florida Atlantic, out of bounds past the 35. Georgia goes 3 deep in the backfield. It's a running back by committee with the Dogs. 3rd and 5, short throw, caught by Jimmy Abbott. He's just shy of the end zone. Georgia uses their last timeout. I think Georgia kind of has misplayed at the end of this first half. They were chewing clock 30 seconds ago. Now they're out of timeouts with 10 seconds here. They're going to have to throw the ball, you would think. Lockley's going to have to make a quick decision. Can't obviously take a sack, can't turn it over. Lockley, with nobody open, throws it in the back of the end zone, incomplete. They're going to kick the field goal with 5 seconds. Feels like they wasted an opportunity here. If they managed the clock better, they probably could have scored a touchdown. It is a short one, 19-yarder. Cash Money. Yes, that's actually the kicker's name. Makes the kick, and it's 17-7. He is living up to his namesake, Cash Money. So the Dogs are up by 10 going into the break. Georgia's definitely been the better team so far in this game. I feel like they're in control. Brian Maddie is a hooper. 4 catches, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Ryan Lockley looks good. 16 of 23, 206, and a pair of tuds. As for LSU, Hopi Reynolds has had an up-and-down start. He has been picked off twice, but otherwise he's been pretty good. 13 of 18, 141. They got to utilize Bryce Davis more. We said that in the first half of the Penn State game. They used Davis a lot in the second half, and they came back and won. I don't think it's a coincidence. They can't give up on the run game. They're only down by 10, and they do start with the ball. So this is a really nice opportunity for LSU to get something going. On 1st down, up the middle, nice throw and catch. Rashawn Porter hauls it in. Tigers with an injury on the offensive line, though. 3rd and 8, Reynolds by himself in the backfield. A 4-year starter in the SEC with 3 programs. True freshman at the University of Florida as it's broken away, incomplete. So the Georgia defense gets the stop. They'll get it back, still up by 10. Lockley, play action. Lockley wants it all. It is caught inside the 20. Placing it in the breadbasket for Adrian Moon. The redshirt freshman gets 42. Lockley on 3rd and 11 misfires. He was looking for Maddie. Would have been a hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the game, and he was certainly open. That was a great route. Brian Maddie looks unreal. Cash Money on to kick, and you will find out next time if he makes the field goal or not. Any day now. Hello. Okay. Kick is good. That'll make it 20-7. It's still a 2-score game. Door is still open, but I feel like there's got to start to be a sense of urgency for LSU. They haven't scored since the first quarter. Reynolds and the Tigers will start with it here at the 24. Reynolds looks to throw it up the middle. It is caught. Nice throw and catch. That'll go for a 1st down. It's Rashawn Porter with the reception for LSU, the junior, native of Atlanta. Screen. Bryce Davis has got space. And when he's got space, he's dangerous. Past the 40-yard line. Nice play for the Tigers. And they're moving it well on this drive. They're looking pretty good. Reynolds play action on first down. Under pressure. It's out. Brendan Mankins with the strip sack, and it's picked up by the Dogs. Golden recovers it. Forced away by Mankins. His 9th sack of the year. The All-American defensive tackle, and the conversation to go in the first round showing exactly why there. Lockley on 2nd and 2. Oh, what a beauty. Into the hands of Jared Irving, the likely first-round tight end. Ryan Lockley has such a beautiful deep ball. 3rd and 4, looking for the end zone. He misses Matty again. Those two guys aren't on the same page, and I think it's on Lockley. Matty was open again. He should have 4 touchdowns right now. Kick is good for cash money. Remains a 2-score game, but the lead is up to 16. So that'd be 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions to tie. LSU's got to get rolling. I mean, their offense needs to get started sooner than later. 3rd and 18, obviously not where they want to be. Reynolds goes short. It is caught. Not going to be enough for the first down. It's Buckley. That'll wrap up the 3rd. LSU's got a big decision to make early in the 4th. I think it's too early to go for it. You're down by 2 scores. You should probably just punt it. They're like inside the 20. Georgia's defense is playing really, really well right now. Their offense struggling to get touchdowns. They haven't found the end zone. Actually, neither team has found the end zone since the first quarter. But they're moving the ball well. They're still getting points. Here's Curtin Pexel, the freshman running back. Haven't really called his name today. He didn't get a touch in the first half. He is being utilized more here. They're down in 15 now for UGA. Any kind of points makes it a 3-score lead for Georgia with just over 7 to go. It's going to be a screen, and it's picked off! There's the big play LSU needed. It's a thick pick. The big man, George Okporowuk, with the interception. His twin brother also plays for Texas A&M, a linebacker, John Okporowuk, who we're going to talk about in the upcoming prospect profile. 6'2", 293, the big fella, making the play, and LSU gets it back still within 2 scores. It's now or never. Broken away on 3rd down. There is a flag, however, and it's going to be a hold on Georgia. So if you're LSU, would you rather the 3rd and 20 or the 4th and 10? I'd probably decline it, and yeah, that's what they're going to do. You could make the argument to accept it because it would be a harder 4th down if they don't get it. But what if they convert on 3rd and 20? So it's a 4th and 10. Reynolds airs it out deep down the field looking for the end zone. It's incomplete. I would not have made that decision. Try to get the first down and worry about the big play later. So Georgia gets it right back where they were. The interception proves to not be that big of a deal. 3rd and 7, big first down for the Dogs. That's Jared Irving with the catch. We haven't really seen a lot of Matty in the second half. 2nd and 5, end zone, misfires for Irving. Ryan Lockley's been good today. He's had some beautiful deep balls, but he has really missed in the red zone. He's had like 3 touchdowns taken off the board. 3rd and 5, Irving in motion. Handoff, Pexel. Curtin Pexel, the freshman, scores for Georgia. And the Dogs are inching closer and closer to a match with Miami at the Orange Bowl in the semis. 30-7 in favor of Georgia. 4th and inches, LSU going for it. Reynolds on the run. It is dropped. Hopi Reynolds has not had a perfect game, but his receivers are not doing him any favors. They've got to catch the ball. Georgia's having fun now with the play calls. An end around for the tight end Irving, who gets the first. 3rd and 5, following the 2-minute timeout in the red zone. Lockley looks to throw it. His pass is incomplete. He misses again. That's 4 misses he's had in the red zone. Again, in what otherwise has been a really good game for Lockley in his first career playoff start. Cash Money makes another one. He's 4 for 4. 33-7 lead now for Georgia. So at this point, it kind of feels like a lost cause for LSU. Minute 40 to go on 3rd down. Reynolds down the field. It is caught. Wow, they actually made a tough catch. I don't believe it. Rayshawn Porter with the first down. Porter is one of the few guys without a drop today, to be fair to him, as it's now 2nd and 10, minute 13 to go. Reynolds looks to throw it. Reynolds under pressure, sacked again. Brendan Mankins, he has looked the part of his draft status today. Might have pushed himself into the first round. 2nd sack of the game, 10th of the year. 3rd and 16, Reynolds intercepted again. It's Gideon Chigosium with the pick. Reynolds was only intercepted 4 times in the first 13 games of the year. Well, he's been intercepted 3 times today. That's with a fumble as well. 33-7, dominant win for Georgia. Very similar to the Miami win, 33-9. Both Georgia and Miami had great seasons, only one loss, but both of them had questionable resumes. Well, they both got statement wins today, and one of them will go to the national championship as they play against each other in the semis. And the winner of that game would certainly be the favorite to win the national championship. Very, very impressive win for Georgia. They didn't have many dominant, impressive victories against good teams like this. So to win against LSU the way they did, certainly a big deal. Certainly some things to clean up, though. They had the 2 touchdowns early, only 1 after that. Ryan Lockley was good. He had some bad misses in the red zone, but it didn't matter. The defense was great. They forced 4 turnovers and made Hopi Reynolds look silly at times. Now, the final stat line for Reynolds is going to look pretty bad, given that he didn't throw for any touchdowns, 3 picks and a fumble. Not ideal. I don't think Hopi Reynolds was really that bad. His receivers didn't do him any favors, had to play hero ball late. He was outplayed by Ryan Lockley, though, who did have a good game for Georgia. Their run game was solid. Through the air, Brian Maddie, he is quite good. And the numbers don't do it justice. He should have had 4 touchdowns if Lockley was accurate in the red zone. And then defensively, these guys were awesome. Brendan Mankins is a stud. 3 interceptions by 3 different players in this loaded secondary. As for LSU, not enough in the Hopi Reynolds revenge game. 22 of 42, 41, 3 picks. Now, as I said, I thought his receivers sucked. I thought the play calling was bad. They didn't utilize Bryce Davis enough. Sure, Reynolds threw 3 interceptions and fumbled it. Let's not act like he was great. But I don't think he was the problem. And if you gave him Georgia's supporting cast, no, they probably wouldn't have won. But I think it would have been a lot more competitive. Defensively, not very good, I would say. Georgia should have scored more points. It was really on them that they didn't. LSU didn't send much pressure. They had the 1 interception by the big fella, but otherwise, I don't think their defense was very impressive. So we started the day with 8. Now we are down to 4. Maybe not the 4 we expected coming into the day. I know my bracket is busted with SMU and Texas Tech out. So it'll be Miami and Georgia in the Orange Bowl, Clemson and USC in the Cotton Bowl. We will go through the 2 semifinal games and the national championship in the next episode. So we will crown a champion. You've got Georgia, the top dog, number 1 against Miami, who's been the best team in the country this year. They're probably the overall favorite left. USC with Jackson Jackson, who is hotter than any quarterback in the country. And then Clemson, the team of destiny. When you count them out, that's when they're at their best. Toledo scores 59. Ohio State barely beats Wyoming. Nebraska over Florida State. Ole Miss over Tulane. Is that a sign of things to come? Michigan over San Jose State. Michigan and Ohio State practically played each other for a playoff spot. Why are they playing Wyoming and San Jose State in the bowls? Players of the week, Charles Ernberger, 4 interceptions, my goodness. And then Tamario Harold, the great running back in Nebraska, with 200 yards in what could be his final game with the Huskers as we take a look at some in-conference players of the week. Makes sense seeing guys like Denario Lasco here. Messiah Cook as well. So with that, we are down to 4. Miami, Georgia, Clemson, USC, along with the national championship game in the next episode. Who do you guys think is going to win the whole thing? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that. Peace out.